and we are back on the franchise for week 6, and since there's no gameplay this week due to our bye, I figured now would be a good time for me to dive in and show you exactly what's been going on in the league up until this point, because I've gotten a few comments from you guys wondering about the stats for some of these players, and also what the records are for the rest of the teams in the league. So don't worry you guys, I got you in this one. We're going to cover all that in this video. I'm also going to show you this ridiculous trade that I pulled off that I know is going to leave a lot of you guys scratching your head, but that's all I'm going to say on that for now. We're going to get to that later on in the video. Now, jumping right into the team records for the AFC North, the Steelers are in the lead with a record of 4-1, followed by the Ravens and Browns, both with a 2-3 record, and then we got the Bengals to bottom out the AFC North. On to the AFC South, the Jaguars and Texans are both tied for first place with records of 3-2, and then we got a tie for third and fourth place, I guess, between the Titans and Colts. Moving over to the AFC East, that team from New England is just running away with the division. There's really no surprise here, and everybody else is just sitting under 500 trying to catch up. That brings us over to a much more competitive AFC West with everybody within pretty much a game of each other. The Chargers and Broncos are both tied for first place with the Raiders and Chiefs right behind them, so that really could be interesting going down the stretch. Now, as we move over to the NFC North, you can see here everybody is sitting under 500, and that's attributed to the fact that most of these teams are going through somewhat of a rebuilding phase, and I really think we should keep an eye out for what team makes the playoffs out of the NFC North, because I think there's a really good chance that whatever team makes it is going to make it with a losing record. But anyways, you guys, as we move on to the next division in the NFC South, you see that my Falcons are already fighting off the Panthers for first place in the division, exactly like we saw it last season, and if that's the case, you guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned because it's going to be a crazy dash to the finish. Now on to the NFC East, the Redskins are looking like a team that may have just figured some things out. While the Cowboys and Giants are still struggling trying to put it all together, it's still pretty impressive to see the Redskins on top of that division with a record of 4-1. And lastly, you guys, we'll take a look at the NFC West and you'll see things are pretty competitive, and by looking at the record, it tells me that there's really no clear favorite in this division. So for now, the 49ers are in first place, but I really expect that to change come week 17. So that's going to be a wrap for the NFL standings through 5 weeks, and before we jump into the player stats, I have to remind you that since we are so early in the season, there's really no need for me to do any type of stat analysis or anything like that, so I'm not going to do any commentary for this part of the video. I'm just going to breeze through it and catch up with you guys in the next segment. So feel free to pause the stats as they come up because I know they move pretty quickly, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, so now you get to see some of the big decisions that need to be made this season. On the positive note, there aren't that many players that need to be taken care of, but the players that do need to be re-signed are pretty major pieces. Starting with Tevin Coleman, I think the cat's already out of the bag at this point. I did mention it in the off-season video that I am thinking about trading Tevin Coleman, and in fact I've already put him on the trading block, and I'll show you some of the offers I got for him later on in the video. But check out some of the players that need to be re-signed or replaced later in the off-season. Andy Levitre, Jake Matthews, and John Greco are pretty much my entire offensive line. They are all up for a new contract this year. This is one of the reasons why I've been such a huge advocate for being able to extend and restructure contracts in Madden 19, just so I don't have to wait until the players in the contract year to be able to do anything with this contract. That just doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, it's pretty obvious to say that getting those guys re-signed is going to be a top priority later in the season. Now, I mentioned a second ago that I put Tevin Coleman on the trading block, and like with most offers that the CPU will give you, this one is pretty ridiculous. Like, the only one that I considered seriously was the first round draft pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2020 draft. So that's not this upcoming draft, but it's going to be for the draft after that one. Now again, I am just showing you guys this for reference. I didn't accept any of these offers, but maybe I should have, but I'm going to leave that up for you guys to decide. But I was really looking to get a good wide receiver for Tevin Coleman, and the CPU just didn't offer me one, so ultimately we decided to go a different route. And oh, about that first round pick from the Steelers, the reason I was interested in that trade offer the most is because I already have 2 first round draft picks for the 2020 draft. When the season started, I ended up having, of course his name escapes me as I'm recording this commentary, Jalen Collins. I had him on my roster this season when the year began, because when he got suspended last year, I just benched him and just completely forgot about it. So of course he pops back up in season 2. But anyway, since he's no longer with the Falcons, I decided to trade him and get something for him, and that's where that first rounder from the Rams comes from. So with all that ammunition, you guys, you can expect that I'll be pretty aggressive in the draft once again. I just can't wait to get to it. I'm probably going to make the most trades that I've ever made in any franchise series. It's going to be crazy. But speaking of trades, check this player out. Joseph Randle out of UCLA has 94 speed, 83 route running, 82 catch, 91 acceleration, 82 CIT, and 86 spec catch. The only knock on his game is the 67 awareness, but to me that's not that big of a deal. I feel like within 5 to 6 games, since awareness is cheap early on, I don't see any reason why I couldn't get him up into the 70s, maybe even mid 70s, who knows. And then by this time in the season 3, I think we could be looking at a really nice player. So here's what I did. I had to offer up Tevin Coleman, Levine Toilolo, who was still on the roster for some weird reason, and a 2020 5th round draft pick. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting there killing me right now because I can kind of feel it as I'm recording this commentary, and deservedly so, because I gave up a lot more than I probably should have for this player, and that's because the Lions were not budging. Trust me, you guys, I worked this trade for about 35-40 minutes easy, and this was the only way to pull it off. But in the end, I believe I acquired a really good player, and that's really all that matters. He should be able to come in and contribute right away. But anyways, you guys, that's all the time I've got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.